On today's episode of The Franchise, September 8th, Game 1 of the NFL season recap. The Lions take down the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending champions, on opening night. I'm going to recap this game, what the Lions did exceptionally well in this game, and where the Chiefs really struggled, which I think is a very obvious area, the receivers. But we'll get to that in a little bit. We're also going to preview and pick every single game this weekend in the NFL, all of the Sunday games, including the Monday night game between the Bills and the Jets. Before we get into the episode, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music is where you can watch or listen to the full-length podcast. You can also find other content on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter or X, whatever it's called now. So yeah, let's get into it with the Lions beating the Kansas City Chiefs by a score of 21-20. Quick look at the box score. Jared Goff, 22 of 35, 253 yards, a touchdown. He was sacked one time. Patrick Mahomes, 21 of 39, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Leading into this game, throughout Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon, leading up to the game, the conversation was Travis Kelce going to be able to play in this game? Was he going to be ruled healthy enough to play in tonight's action or in last night's action, the opening night game? Because remember, he suffered a hyperextension in his knee in practice on Tuesday, and now he has a bone bruise. He said throughout Thursday that he was feeling better. He was expecting himself to play. Ultimately, the Chiefs training staff kept him out. So that was a big loss. Once Travis Kelce was ruled out, the Lions had a way better chance to win. And the Chiefs were going to have to figure out what they're going to do offensively without Travis Kelce on the field. He is the number one weapon on this offense. He's the number one option for Patrick Mahomes. Not only is he the best option and always the priority receiver in this offense, but if they're going to another receiver on this offense and no one's open, Travis Kelce is that security blanket for Patrick Mahomes. He's the trust between these two is about as close as you can get between a receiver and a quarterback, or a tight end and quarterback. And missing Kelce was going to be a big loss. However, going into this game, I picked the Chiefs to win this game. I thought they, despite not having Travis Kelce and despite not having Chris Jones, which I'll get to in a minute, I still thought the Chiefs had enough, based off of Patrick Mahomes still playing, being the best quarterback in the league, being the reigning NFL MVP. I thought that would be enough to win this game. I thought it would be a close game. I thought the score would be a little bit higher. I thought the Chiefs I thought the final score was like something like 35-31. I thought it was going to be a close, high-scoring game, and I thought when it would come down to the end of the game, that Mahomes would be able to put the ball in the right spot and take the Chiefs down the field and win the game. And he almost did that. The Lions gave the Chiefs back the ball up 21-20 with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter, which is way too much time for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has won game-winning drives with 13 seconds, with less than a minute. He's won games with way less time than he had last night, which was 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the fourth quarter. And he was slinging the ball deep down the field. He was doing it all night. But the story of the night for the Chiefs offensively was that these receivers could not catch a football. Kadarius Toney is a prime example. He had 5 targets. He had 1 catch for 1 yard the entire game. Sky Moore had 3 targets. He didn't catch a ball. He didn't have a single yard of offense in this game. The drops for the Kansas City Chiefs were at an all-time high. And in particular, Kadarius Toney, his drops were very untimely. He had a drop in the fourth quarter that was a potential 20-yard gain. Sky Moore had a drop that led to, I think it was 4th and 20, and then they had a false start, which then led to the 4th and 25, where Mahomes decided to air it out. The Chiefs didn't decide to punt. I don't see that play as that big of a deal. I mean, you punt the ball away. It's not a guarantee you get it back. Yes, you might get better field position. If you punt it away, the lines are 20-yard line. Maybe you get a stop there. But either way, it's not a guarantee that you get the football back, at least with Mahomes. 4th and 25. You never know what could happen. You could find a receiver open deep in the middle of the field or on the sidelines. Next thing you know, you've converted and you're looking in a really, really good spot. But the drops for the Chiefs are what killed them in this game. And that is really the conversation of, without Travis Kelce, who is the reliant receiver in this offense for the Chiefs? You look through the box score here. Marquez Valdes-Scantling had 2 catches, 2 targets for 48 yards. Justin Watson on 4 targets, 2 catches, 45 yards. Noah Gray with 31 yards, 3 receptions. Pacheco had 4 catches. Rashee Rice had 3 catches for 29 yards. Bell had 2 receptions for 12 yards and a touchdown as well. So the Chiefs distributed the football. There was not one guy that got a good share of the targets. Now, obviously, if Travis Kelce was playing, he's getting all of those targets. Some of these other guys, obviously, are going to get their share, but there's no guy here that got, 7, 8 targets in this game. The most was 5, and that was shared between 2 different players on the offense for the Kansas City Chiefs. So what are they going to do if Travis Kelce is not healthy? Let's say he misses more time. What if he misses next week? What if he misses time later on in the season? Maybe he suffers another injury or whatever. Who are they going to be able to rely on to get to make and come up with big plays when it matters most? Because last night in the fourth quarter, what did they need? They needed someone to step up and just catch the football. They just needed someone to squeeze the ball between their 2 hands and come down with it cleanly and secure it for a catch. That's all they needed in that fourth quarter, because Mahomes was putting the ball in the right spot. The offensive line was still playing good. The defense for the Chiefs without Chris Jones was good. They only allowed 21 points in this game. They were able to get to Jared Goff. They were able to put pressure on them. They played good. They did not play bad without Chris Jones. And I want to mention with this Chris Jones thing real quick. He's holding out. We know that. He's holding out. He wants a new contract. He's prepared to hold out until week 8, which is the trade deadline. But why is he in a suite? Why is he at the game in a suite with his 2 agents watching the game when he could either be on the field helping this team win this game, or he should just be sitting at home, not present at all with the team? I don't like the fact that he's there in the stadium in a suite, his agents to his left and to his right, watching this team play pretty solid in the first half. In the second half, the Chiefs really struggled. In the second half, they were not as good as they were in the first half. He's up there watching when he could be down there playing with this team, or he might as well just be at home. I don't like the fact that he's there when he's holding out at the stadium, watching this team ultimately lose this football game. The Chiefs were 0 for 7 on third down in the second half. So that once again goes to the point that the Chiefs needed someone offensively to step up in this game. Mahomes cannot do everything. He can only do so much. He needs people on that offense in the receiver core that he can trust. And without Travis Kelce, without Tyreek Hill, that obviously they didn't have him last season and they were just fine. But without Travis Kelce, this Kansas City offense does not have someone reliable to go to in clutch time. I mean, when it comes down to fourth quarter football, when the offense needs someone to make a play, every single team has that playmaker. Every single team. You look across the NFL, there's one player that the football's probably going to him because he's their best player and he's going to come down with a catch. Devontae Adams with the Raiders, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. You know that those guys are going to be getting the football in these big time moments. Travis Kelce is the guy that is supposed to be getting the ball in the fourth quarter, down by 1 point, trying to win this game at home. And with him out, look, yeah, you're going to have to find who that guy is going to be. But when Kadarius Toney, when Sky Moore, when they don't catch the football in the fourth quarter, that is a problem. I mean, Kadarius Toney had 5 targets. He only caught the ball once. Every single time a ball was thrown to him, it just bounced off his fingertips. And it's not like Mahomes threw that many balls over people's heads. They were right within reach of these receivers. They just couldn't come down with it. And look, one of Kadarius Toney's dropped balls or tipped balls, it led to a pick 6 by Brian Branch, the rookie out of Alabama, the second round pick by the Lions. He took that ball to the house to tie the game at 14 in that second quarter, I believe. in that third quarter. So let's move away from the Chiefs here and look at the Detroit Lions, who I thought they would lose this game, but I didn't think that they would lose and we would say, oh, this Lions team is all hype. They are not going to be a legit football team this year. I still thought they were going to put on a statement. And they definitely did that last night by winning this game against the defending champs. First of all, Goff played pretty good in this game. He wasn't tremendous at any point. He wasn't super horrible at any point. He was just a very consistently good quarterback in this game last night for the Detroit Lions. Now, how about Jahmyr Gibbs? Jahmyr Gibbs got 7 carries for 42 yards. He also got 2 receptions for 18 yards in this game. Now, before the game, in the previous few days before this game, you heard head coach Dan Campbell say that, look, Jahmyr Gibbs, we're not going to overwork him in the first game of his NFL career. He's going to get a limited workload. He's not going to be out there for 21 snaps or for 21 carries. He's not going to be out there that much in his first taste of real NFL action. But he really should have been out there. I mean, David Montgomery, yeah, he had 21 carries, 74 yards, and a touchdown, but he was not efficient running the football. He was not as good as Jahmyr Gibbs was, Jahmyr Gibbs averaged about 6 yards a carry last night when he had the football in his hands. He is a tremendous player. You can see why he was drafted as early as he was, number 12 overall in the NFL draft, when tons of people were saying, wow, what a reach. You're taking Jahmyr Gibbs, a running back, at the 12th overall pick. But it was warranted. And he needs to get the ball more as the season rolls along, which I expect him to. I mean, he's not going to be getting the ball this little as we move on in the season, as he gets more accustomed to life in the NFL and to these NFL games. But I mean, last night, yes, you said he was going to get a limited workload. But at some point, you have to say, wow, this guy is really, really good. He's tearing up this Chiefs defense right now. He's just explosive. He's breaking tackles. He's spinning, breaking tackles. He's taking some ankles. He has another level to him that as a running back, as a receiving back, that he needs to be on the field and he needs to get the ball all of these plays. He needs to be getting the ball more. I expect him to later on. But I mean, last night, man, if you give him 10, 15 carries, who knows what the score might have looked like, because the way he was playing last night behind that offensive line that was playing very, very good football, man, Jahmyr Gibbs could have really, really, really stole the show. For the receiving, for the Lions, Josh Reynolds, 80 yards, 4 receptions. St. Brown, 71 yards, 6 receptions, and 1 touchdown. And then Laporta, the new tight end, the rookie tight end, 5 catches, 39 yards. He had a tremendous game. And when it was coming down to the fourth quarter, obviously, you know, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the number 1 receiver, the number 1 skill position offensive player on this team, you knew he was getting the football. But Sam Laporta made a very, very good case down the stretch of, yeah, he might be a guy that if Amon-Ra St. Brown's not open or if he's not on the field on this play for whatever reason, you might have to go and target Laporta, because this guy was having himself a night last night. And he can also block as well, which is very key for this team. Some other things I want to mention. Why were Aiden Hutchinson's parents mic'd up? That was a weird one. They mic'd up his parents in the stands. Why don't you mic up Aiden Hutchinson himself? Like I mentioned, the Lions O-line is tremendous. The Lions receivers are very, very good as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds. Those guys are incredible players. Marvin Jones really struggled last night. I still expect him. I mean, he's a good NFL player. I think he's only going to get he's going to have better games as the season rolls along. Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 catches in the passing game. Look, Jahmyr Gibbs' workload, as I mentioned, it is going to go up. He's going to be used more in this offense. There's no way that he gets used this little as the season rolls along. So going forward for the Chiefs, I mean, obviously they need Travis Kelce back, but they're also going to need to figure out what they're going to do offensively in the receiving room to help out Patrick Mahomes. If Travis Kelce's out for a play, if he suffers another injury, if he's whatever happens to Travis Kelce, right? I mean, sometimes he's going to get locked up. That's very, very rare that he's going to get locked up. I mean, that probably Excuse me. That probably has never happened in his career. But on the off chance, the odd chance that it does happen, or the chance where Kelce is hurt and he's not on the field, who are the Chiefs going to rely on to step up? And you can look at the trade market, you can look at the free agency right now, which seems to be pretty scarce. I don't know what top of the line wide receiver is just sitting out there in free agency, but you look at the trade market, potentially Mike Evans, if he doesn't reach a deal, maybe you trade for him. Maybe who else are you going to bring in? Because there's not many guys right now. You're not bringing in Devontae Adams in an in-division trade. So look, the Chiefs are going to need to figure out what they're going to do. They need one of these receivers to step up. Ultimately, I just think they need to learn how to catch the football because they were getting targets. Mahomes was passing the ball. But if Kadarius Toney, if he catches 3 of these balls, it could be a completely different game. It really could. If Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore just caught the football 1 or 2 or 3 more times, it could be a Chiefs win. But the Chiefs fall by 1 point. Lions win opening night on the road. Very big statement game for Detroit. I'm not super worried about Kansas City. I mean, outside of, the receiver room, I'm not super worried. Their defense looked good without Chris Jones. Obviously, it would look a lot better with him playing. And then the Detroit Lions really looked good in last night's game. All right, let's go here to week 1 NFL picks. Currently on the season, I'm 0-1. I picked the Chiefs to win last night and they lost. So we are 0-1 on the season. But here we go right now. We're on the website here. We're going to go through and pick every single one of these games, starting with, I wrote it down in a completely different order than what's on the screen. But we're going to start here with the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson's NFL debut. Trevor Lawrence coming into his 3rd year. The Jaguars with expectations to win the division. I think the obvious choice here is the Jacksonville Jaguars to go out and win this game. They clearly are the better football team. Just all around, the Colts struggled last year. I think they're still going to struggle this year, mainly because of the absence of Jonathan Taylor. I think if Jonathan Taylor was playing, not only do I think the Colts would have a better chance to win, but I think they have a better chance of having actually a good season, because Jonathan Taylor is that good and can be that good. And with a rookie quarterback, you want a very nice. If you could have a running back that is at his best one of the top running backs in the league for a rookie quarterback to rely on when he's struggling in the passing game, that would really help. But ultimately, the Colts, I think they're going to struggle offensively. I don't think Anthony Richardson is going to do horrible. I think he's going to have a pretty solid game. But the Jaguars are too talented. They're the better football team. The Jaguars will win this game. The Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. Joe Burrow seemingly going to be playing in this game. Suffered the calf injury earlier in training camp. But the expectation is that he's going to play in this game against the Browns team that brought in a whole new defense in the offseason to go with Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson in his first full season as the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. And I'm going to take the Browns to win this game. The Browns have had the Bengals number over the last few seasons. They've won a majority of these matchups. And even if Joe Burrow is playing and he is healthy in this game, I think the Browns are going to come out here and they're going to shock. They're going to shock the Bengals. They're going to shock a lot of people across the NFL. I think Deshaun Watson, there's no way he plays as bad as he played last season, which you got to remember was the first NFL action he's seen in almost 2 years, with a full off season, with a full regular season. I think the Browns could be a good team, as I mentioned in my predictions. I think they could be a 10-win football team, and I think they win game 1 against the Bengals. Texans, Ravens, this is a very easy pick right here. I think this is probably one of my locks of the week, and that is the Ravens taking down the Houston Texans. I expect CJ Stroud to struggle in this game against a Ravens defense that is very good, and then the Texans defense. Yeah, you got Will Anderson Jr. and Derek Stingley, but outside of that, the Ravens are about to run and pass all over this Texans defense. All right, Broncos, Raiders in Denver. Sean Payton debut as the head coach of this Broncos team with Russell Wilson looking to bounce back this season at quarterback, and Jimmy Garoppolo's debut for the Raiders. I think the Broncos win this game as well. I think the Broncos, obviously their defense is one of the best defensive units in the entire NFL. But I think when it comes down to it, I think Russell Wilson's going to play pretty solid in this game. I think Sean Payton has prepared all offseason, all training camp, all preseason to set up Russell Wilson to succeed in his first NFL game. I remember last year in his first game with the Broncos against the Seahawks on Monday Night Football, he struggled. He didn't struggle. He played solid. He played okay. But when it came to the fourth quarter, Russell Wilson and his Broncos offense completely disappeared. I think Sean Payton's prepared Russell Wilson and his Broncos team for success in this game. And I think the Raiders are going to be one of the worst teams in the league this year. Look, the Raiders have a great offensive, have a great offense. Jimmy Garoppolo, if he's healthy, he'll be able to distribute the football in an efficient way to Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, Josh Jacobs in the backfield. But that offensive line is weak. And when you're playing a defense that the Broncos have, it's going to be a rough day for the Raiders. I'm going to take the Denver Broncos. Dolphins, Chargers in Los Angeles. I'm going to take the Dolphins in this game. I think Tua, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle are about to have a tremendous day on Sunday. You saw last year in one of the first few games of the season where Tua passed for like 500 yards. Tyreek Hill had 1,000,000 yards receiving, and Jalen Waddle was incredible as well. I think the Chargers are going to be good. I think they're going to play good. I think this is actually going to be one of the better games of the Sunday slate. And I'm going to take the Dolphins to win this one. We're going to save this Monday night one for the end. Niners, Steelers. Brock Purdy getting the start. Kenny Pickett entering his second year. Nick Bosa just got his massive contract extension. But I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game. I think the Steelers are going to shock a lot of people this year. I think they're going to be one of the better teams in the AFC North. I think they're going to be a second-place team, a playoff team this year, and Kenny Pickett's about to take a big leap. And this is a battle of two great defenses. The Niners defense, the Steelers defense are going to be some of the best defensive units in the entire NFL this season. But Brock Purdy coming off of that injury to his UCL, I think the Steelers are going to come out here and they're really going to pound the Steelers and win this game on Sunday. Titans, Saints. Derek Carr debut in New Orleans. The Saints, on paper, have a better football team. And I think by the end of the year, the Saints will have a better record. But I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to win this game. No real reason why. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, Derrick Henry. Yeah, the Saints probably have a better football team, better defensive team, a better offense, a better quarterback. But I mean, there's got to be a game in here where the underdog wins. And I don't know. I just have a feeling that the Titans are going to win this game. That might come back to bite me, and I might really regret that decision. Eagles, Patriots, Eagles easily win this game. That's Sunday Night Football. That's not Sunday Night Football. Yeah, no. But the Eagles win this game. The Patriots have a really great defense, a very good defense, but offensively, they are going to struggle. Commanders, Cardinals. This is probably the pick that everyone is taking, and that is Washington. I could really go against the common pick here and take Arizona, but there's just no way they win this game with Joshua Dobbs at quarterback, and that Commanders defense is going to be very good. Washington easily wins this game. Bryce Young's NFL debut taking on Desmond Ridder, Bijan Robinson, and this Atlanta Falcons team. I'm going to take the Panthers to win this game. I know rookie quarterbacks in their first game, I believe they're 0-13. Rookie quarterbacks in their first NFL game do not tend to win. They just haven't. But I think Bryce Young and this Panthers team, yeah, the offensive line looked horrible in the preseason, and the receiving room is not as good and not as talented as the Falcons. But I think Bryce Young's going to do his thing in this game. I think I think Desmond Ridder and the Falcons might struggle a little bit out of the gate, and I'll take the Panthers in this game. Vikings, Buccaneers. Give me the Vikings in this game. Packers taking on the Bears. Jordan Love. The new era of Green Bay Packer football has begun, and the Chicago Bears looking. Justin Fields, will he take that leap this season as a passer? I think this should be a very good game between these two teams. I think it could be a very, very exciting football game right here. But I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win this game. Rams, Seahawks. I think this is a lock for Seattle. And then Sunday Night Football between the Cowboys and the New York Giants in New York. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys in this game. Although I think it's a lot closer than people expect, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants win this game. And then finally, Monday Night Football between the Bills and the Jets. Aaron Rodgers anticipated Jets debut, but I think the Bills spoil it, win this game against their division rival on the road. I think the Jets are going to lose the first game of the season, really get tested physically, mentally, and the Bills are going to say, look, yeah, the Jets might be the team that has all this hype, but we won the division last season. We've been the better team in this division for the last 5 seasons. This is still our division. You got to prove it to us first, and they're going to come out here and win this game. So these are all of my picks for this week. I would say my 2 locks in terms of teams that I think are guaranteed to win this weekend is the Baltimore Ravens against the Houston Texans and the Seattle Seahawks against the LA Rams. I think those are my 2 locks, guaranteed teams to win this weekend. And then 2 potential upsets. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants take down the Dallas Cowboys in at home against the Cowboys. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And then I think Tampa Bay. I think it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Baker Mayfield, if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, if they somehow beat the Minnesota Vikings, who defensively last season were not a good football team. Yeah, sure, they brought in Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator, but that's not going to fix the problem defensively when you don't have great players on that defense. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game, potentially, depending on how Tampa plays offensively. But those are my 2 potential upset picks, the Giants and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, that is going to end it for today's episode of The Franchise, recapping Lions versus Chiefs opening night game. Those are my week 1 NFL picks. We'll be back on Monday with another episode recapping NFL week 1, all of the Sunday games, Monday game as well. Remember, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. Follow the TikTok, the Twitter, and the Instagram for other content over there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on Monday.